Hello and welcome back. We are here today with our very own Wendy Smith, member of our board, and we are very excited to be able to interview and get to know you on a hopefully more personal level. So we are going to get right into it. Wendy, thank you so much for spending the evening with us. I don't know what them they're watching it at, but right now it's about 5 o'clock. You got off of work.
Yep.
And you hustled on over here, and we are very appreciative of you making that time for us. And so we won't waste any time. My question for you is, what was your motivation to run for the board, run for this position? Why did you put yourself through that? And then what that continues to motivate you to be on our board?
Yeah. Well, I think my initial motivation is because I'm a teacher, and so I know from personal experience kind of the direct impacts that a school board can have on the classroom, on the students, on the teachers. So I think that was kind of the initial motivation. I'm also a mom, so I've got 2 children in the district, so that's definitely a motivation there
Yes.
too. But I'm a civics nerd. I love everything about government and civics. I teach it, and so I believe very strongly in the importance of public education and participatory government, and so it just seemed kind of a natural fit.
Yeah.
And in 2017, the board director who had held my seat before me, Kathy Gillespie, had announced she wasn't running for re-election, and I thought, oh, well then, who's it going to be?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, shoot, maybe it could be me.
Hey,
So
yes.
I decided to give it a shot, and I won, and so I'm still here.
And how was that? I mean, I felt like, when I remember when you ran, and I remember that just the idea of you being in education yourself was like, okay, at least we have somebody that is going to know the ins and outs, knows the system, knows the struggle, and
Right.
you know also it's real, right?
Right.
And so I think that was a huge when you ran. I feel like that was like in the building we felt.
Oh,
Like,
that's
okay,
awesome.
finally,
I'm
somebody's
so
in there
glad.
that's
I'm
going to be
so
able
glad
to
to
talk
hear.
I mean, it's valuable to have
Yeah.
other community members on there as well. But it's so nice
Yeah.
to know that your beliefs and our beliefs are aligned just because of the idea that you're in
Right.
public education. That's your job, and you are and I'm sure we disagree in other things, but I feel like when we want all kids to have access to a good education.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
going to be our main point,
Yeah,
right? And so
absolutely.
knowing that was where you were coming from was exciting for us to see, and it's and then we also when just seeing how you've been supportive of all teachers, it's been great to see you up there, and I'm always rooting for you. And so our next question is, and this is what we've been asking because the community, I feel like as a teacher too, I know what you guys do, what important roles you run, but what is your day to day? What does your week to week look
Right.
like? And I also understand that this is like, let's call it volunteer
Yeah.
work. Like I know you get like a stipend, but it's very minimal.
Right.
So what does that look like for you? What do you have to do?
It's not very exciting.
Yeah.
On the day to day, I mean, there are lots of really cool things that we get to do too, but it's a lot of emails, a lot of reading, a lot of research and learning, just so that we're making sure that we're making the best decisions possible, asking lots of questions, and then taking all of that information in. So day to day, it's a lot of written communication, a lot of reading. Week to week, I mean, there's obviously the meetings that we do. There's the public meetings that everybody can watch, but we also have like committee meetings that are smaller. So I'm on the budget committee, which I love, but I know other people are not very interested in that. So, and then, I mean, there are the building visits and the things like that we also do. But I think you're right, people don't really understand.
Yeah.
I've had people who want to like schedule a time to meet in my office or want to know what my office hours are. I'm like, I don't have an office. There's no office.
You need my car.
Yeah,
Put you in the parking lot if you like.
Exactly. Like it is very much a volunteer thing. I
Yeah.
spend a good chunk of my weekend every weekend like looking through stuff. And,
Educating yourself on
Yeah.
things that need to be
Yeah.
brought up, and do you so then kind of going off the cusp here, do you feel like as a role when you were teaching, I mean, how long have you been teaching?
I did my student teaching in 2003, so this is 20 years. Yeah,
this is your 20th year.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, and you made it through COVID too. So I'm sure that was that probably took like 40 years. Took 40 years out of my life. So I'm sure that But my question is that, so do you feel like now, kind of serving on our board, do you feel like you're a better educator? Just
for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, you would have to, because you would have to know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the edubabble, a lot of the lingo, a lot of shorthand. I mean, that kind of stuff I know because just of my profession.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that you just know and learn about as a teacher. But it's just such a bigger scope.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the district as a whole, there's all kinds of things like I didn't know anything about.
100%. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking is like, because of the fact that you are, being asked to vote on certain things or hey, we would like to add this, or we would like to insert this program, and you would have to educate yourself on those programs so that you could truly give your best foot forward. Yeah. And I was just thinking like that would be a fantastic tool to have in your back pocket to be able to know, because as a teacher you're kind of in your world, right? And that's a big world, right? You have to. I think that when you speak to somebody that's not in education and you start to tell them what things you have to do in a day-to-day, they're like, you have to do what? But then you think about, like, you're still in your world, like your classroom door's shut, these 25 kids, 30 kids, these are yours, like these are your responsibility. You, like, everything else is noise on the outside. Right. But then when you bring that, now what you've educate yourself on, what you've gone through, now you kind of bring it and look at it at this level down, which then it would just make you a way better. And then being a parent too, I have a 1-year-old little girl, and I've been this is my 9th year in education, and I feel this year specifically there's a spark in me that, and now I can ask myself, is this what I want Polly to experience? Right. And that is, for whatever reason, has like really aligned me to my true north and being like, what do I truly believe in? This is my why, and this is what I believe in. So that's kind of what I was like thinking. I was like, I would have to, but I wanted to.
No, I mean, there's any number of conversations that I have now where I'm like, well, let me actually explain why that is. Like, people just don't see the big picture, and I can make some pretty good educated guesses as to why this might have to happen this way or that might have to happen that way. Yeah. With students and with colleagues and even in a different district. Like, this is how this type of system's going to work. Yeah. So
that's great. That's great to hear. And I mean, good for you and good for us to be able to have someone like you on our team. So my next question is, what is your connection to Vancouver? Are you from Vancouver? Have you? So let us know. Like, how was that?
Born and raised in Vancouver. I've lived here my whole life.
Nice. What elementary school did you go to?
Philida.
Oh, you went to Philida, and then did you go to TJ Thomas?
No. Thomas Jefferson was a wheat field.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess it would be.
I grew up out in Philida. That was,
so then what was your middle school?
Jason Lee.
Jason Lee,
and then River.
River.
Yeah.
Nice.
I predate Skyview. Yeah.
So Sandra also was a Vancouver product, and so she got very emotional during our Spanish interview when she was talking because there's going to be a question. Oh, spoiler alert! There's going to be a question further down the road, but were you able to give any sort of commencement speech at River? Yeah. And how was that? I mean,
it was my first year on the board. Yeah, I got to speak at River's graduation.
That's so great that you get to do that full circle. Yeah. That might be what you want to answer on the bottom, so we won't go into it yet, but. That's so great, and I didn't know that. That's fantastic. So that's even more of a reason why you're so valuable for us, is that you know what Vancouver was and hopefully is and hopefully will be. That's what the goal is. So then our next question is, what are your favorite things to do around here, especially that you're a native? What are your what are your go-tos?
I mean, I don't know how exciting I am, but anything
with all the extra
anything
time,
involving exactly anything involving my kids. Anything, like any opportunity we can go outside, we like to go down and walk on the river, along the river, or Klein Line, or lots of great restaurants downtown. Like, we'll go hang out with friends, but it's not anything crazy.
You're not like going like skydiving over Vancouver Lake or anything fun like that?
No, pretty laid back.
Yeah, but no, it sounds like a good time though, and and so you how many kids do you have?
I have 2.
Nice. And so and then in Vancouver, and that's so great. That's awesome. So then even more of a reason. Yeah, you're just the chameleon in our group. And so then I kind of want to know a little bit about, we talked about your free time. You talked about that you're from Vancouver. I kind of want to know kind of I feel like, are you the longest lasting board member so far? Is this
currently serving on the board?
Currently serving on the board?
Yeah, I am the longest currently serving board
director.
director.
I mean, I feel like it's not, you haven't been there very long, but we have some fresh new blood on our team. So my question is, so it's going to be a little more interesting for you to go back and to tell us can you take us back to a time, or it could be multiple times that you are like, that's going to be a forever moment for me, and it's going to be like, it was a good experience for you too.
Yeah, I think there are a lot, actually. I mean, speaking at Columbia Rivers commencement, my first year, that was pretty great.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Surreal, but awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very intimidating because they do it at the amphitheater. It's a very large crowd.
It's huge, I'm sure. Yeah.
But I think there have been a lot of things that I can look at and say that was really cool. I mean, all of the building dedications. I mean, I came on just as the bond projects were starting to the first few projects were finishing, and so there were a lot of building dedications, which is always really, really cool. I love the commencement, the graduations. I love every single one of them. It's like favorite time of the year.
Yeah, that's a fun time.
I love doing the building visits and going into the classrooms. All of those are really cool. I think I mean, when I look at what we've done as a board and the things that I'm most proud of, obviously the equity policy is kind of number one. Honestly, it's changed how we do everything.
You do the work,
which is exactly what we wanted. Not just a lip service sort of policy.
Yeah, box to check in. No,
exactly,
it's
but something that can actually affect really truly meaningful change, and it is.
Yeah.
And so that was a process. It wasn't a single moment, and it's still a process. We're still, working at it and trying to get better at it. But that's something that I'm really proud of. I was really proud of the work we did in hiring Dr. Snell, the superintendent search, and all of the work that went into that. That was a process. So I don't know if it's a single moment, but it's something that.
Well, especially that you've been on the board for the time that you have. It's the idea that that it sounds like you've done a lot of great work, and then we've seen that work too. And those interviews. I mean, as a teacher, I was watching them via Zoom, and I feel like it was very transparent where like how things were run. And when Dr. Snell, and there were some fantastic candidates.
We were
Snell,
so fortunate.
My
gosh!
There was quite a few that
amazing.
we were like, oh god, that would be okay.
I know every single one was like, oh, they're awesome. And they're awesome too.
Exactly, every single one I could see like, okay, that's fantastic. We could use them as this, but and Dr. Snell being when he was at Fort and being able to be like come back and serve with us, and I feel like that, and then. So I have a connection to say about when you were talking about giving that commencement speech in front of us. So I was selected from my high school to give the commencement speech, but here you are, an 18-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And then they told me that I had to turn in my speech to. I was like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not gonna practice it. Whatever, it'll come out how it comes out, right? And I'm used to giving speeches in class, like 25 kids in the class.
Right.
So then all of a sudden I walk out into the graduation, and we don't have it in the amphitheater, so I can imagine that. But I walk out it's at Western Oregon University. It was in the gym, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. So then I got my speech, and my uncle was recording me, and you could see me. Everything else is going on, and I'm like shaking, and it was a very big wake-up call. So I feel your pain. It is, but that rush is kind of fun. After you're done, it's like, whew, okay, it's
well,
good.
And everybody's just so happy.
Yeah.
So I mean, even when something goes terribly wrong, they're very
everyone's
forgiving.
Like, yeah, for sure. It's graduation for crying out loud. And okay, that's that was a little connection when you said that. I was like, yep, been there. That feeling of being like, what did I sign up for? So this is our last question, and I kind of just want you to go 10, 15 years in the future. Okay. And I want to know from you, how do you know that you were successful by what you see in our community? What is it that you are like, this is going to be how I value or how I evaluate your service
right
to us?
That is a really hard question. I don't know that I have like any one single thing that I would be looking at or to. I mean, I think about, I'm 6 years into serving on the board, about halfway, hopefully, of what I hope in terms of my term of service. And I can already look back and see just a number of things that I'm really proud of and think, oh, that was the right thing in the right moment, at the right time. So I think when I'm done, to be able to look back and maybe the double the amount of but just be able to look and say, we got better. Every year we got better. We did better for our students. We did better for our families. Like just that constant striving for improvement and reducing, barriers and increasing access and it's just kind of the constant work.
And I'm guessing that you would also like to see the things that you've had a part of putting in place, like especially like our equity policy, seeing that continue throughout and further on. And so the things that you're creating a legacy here in Vancouver, and it is truly an honor to have you on our board and have you serving for us, and just your voice as a parent, your voice as an educator, and your voice as a community member is definitely seen. And you were the first, like when I moved, I would think it was 2014 when I started teaching here, and then you came on soon after, like 2 years later, 3 years? 2017, 3 years later, and that was when I started like truly understanding what members of the board and what they do and how they, and when like I said, when we saw you on that and that you were an educator, we were like, yes, somebody that knows our pain, and that knows our goals, and knows it, and so thank you so much. It's been an honor. It is an honor to have you on our board. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much, and please come back. I believe have one more that we will do. So, nos vemos. Bye.